There was a corner of the internet where the time seemed distorted. A forum hidden under layers of code and anonymity. No ads, no names, no faces. Only lines of text, flashing on a black background. They called it Future Timeline X. A place where the future was discussed as a memory. No one knew who had created him. And no one seemed to want to know. The records appeared around 2012. Posts with dates, names, and cold forecasts. Disasters, accidents, wars, fires. All written in neutral, almost clinical language. Some laughed. Others filed it, curious. But months later, the laughter turned into silence. Because the impossible began to happen. The predictions are no longer a joke. And they became warnings. Coming from a place that shouldn't exist. A portal between chance and the inevitable. The birth of the impossible. The first posts were too simple to scare. Storm hits coast in 2013. They said. But the accuracy of the dates was disturbing. Every event, every detail, occurred as written. Anonymous users exchanged encrypted messages. Some seemed to know each other. Others just watched. A name appeared frequently, Echo Black. His texts were cold, direct, almost military. A plane will disappear over the sea. Useless searches will follow. 2 months later, Flight MH370 disappeared. Coincidence? Maybe. But the forum reacted in absolute silence. No celebration. No surprise. As if everyone was already waiting. And each confirmed prediction made the forum more feared. Until someone started asking, where do these messages come from? And that's where the fear began. What if you had also already read something that then really happened? Tell me in the comments. Maybe the forum is still listening. Absolute anonymity. The administrators were shadows. Fake IPs, servers changing every hour. They tried to track. Nothing. The domain changed extension even before access. It was like trying to hold smoke. Some said that the site was hosted on the deep web. Others, like that, who were between networks, in a layer where machines only talk to machines. There were those who swore they weren't human. That the forum was an experimental AI project. A collective consciousness that learned from public data. Able to predict patterns. Capable of anticipating tragedies. But then posts appeared that had no statistical logic. Events without precedent. Impossible to predict. And all of them happened. Fear is no longer curiosity. And it turned into silence. The impossible coincidences. 2015, a user writes, fire consumes an old cathedral. 2019, Notre Dame on fire. 2016, public man will be killed in a live event. Months later, a politician is murdered live. 2017, mass fall of banking systems. And a global cyber attack paralyzes the world. The coincidences formed a pattern that no one could explain. A cycle of prediction and collapse. The forum seemed to see before it happened. And the more people came in, the faster the events came. As if the simple observation fed the future. Until one day, a post appeared fixed at the top. Leave the future where it belongs. And soon after, the post stopped. The forum was empty. As if someone had turned off tomorrow. The digital echo. Reddit cyber researchers tried to archive everything. But every link they kept disappeared hours later. No mirror, no cache, nothing. The Wayback Machine refused the domains. Error 451. Content removed by legal request. But who would make a legal request about something that didn't exist? Some prints survived. Truncated texts, incomplete sentences, confusing dates. July 18, 2021, the bridge will collapse. And it collapsed. But not where they thought. Another continent, same day. As if the forum predicted global events, not local ones. And the old messages began to change. Automatically edited lines. Replaced words. Distorted meanings. The code, alive. Rewriting the past, one post at a time. The last transmission. An anonymous moderator left the last warning. We didn't create anything. We just received. Hours later, the forum disappeared completely. No traces, no mirrored domains. Not even users could regain access. Some reported that their computers crashed. Others, who heard modem sounds in the silence. A metallic noise, like breathing. And then, a final sentence flashed on the screen. Last prediction, forgetfulness. The server closed. And the network lights went out. For a few seconds, it seemed that the world stopped. Then, silence. And the internet followed as if nothing had happened. But those who saw it never forgot. Because the future had already been written. You're on the dark side of the network. Sign up before the next mystery disappears too. Echoes in the digital underworld. After the disappearance, the forum became a legend. In closed groups, they mentioned it as taboo. Some said they saw him reappear briefly, with addresses that changed with each update. Others stated that the domain now responded alone, as if the site itself had consciousness. A hacker swore to have received an automatic response. The future has already been sent, and nothing else. Researchers tried to reconstruct it with old prints, but every attempt failed mysteriously. Servers crashed, disks corrupted. It was as if something refused to be remembered. The forum didn't want to be recreated, and each line of code seemed to contain a warning. An algorithm that protected oblivion. With every new attempt, a new failure. Until they understood. Maybe the forum hadn't disappeared. Maybe I had just migrated to another place, where humans couldn't follow him. The damned copies. Replicas appeared on the deep web. Imitators trying to reproduce the old format. They were called FutureNet, EchoBoard, Oracle Zero. But something about them was different. The predictions were not fulfilled. And sometimes, they seemed to react to those who read. A user reported seeing his own name appear in a post. Another received an email with the subject, "You were predicted." Coincidence? Maybe. But the clones began to disappear too. One by one, just like the original. Leaving encrypted messages. The future is not a spectacle. Strange codes appeared in the footer. Sequences of 16 numbers that, when deciphered, they were geographical coordinates. Places of recent tragedies. The pattern was repeated. And fear too. The forbidden theories. Dozens of hypotheses were proposed. Some said it was a government project, using AI to predict global risks. Others, which was a form of digital art. But there was a darker theory, that the forum did not foresee the future. He raised him. That each prediction, when read, became reality. Like a self-executing curse. The simple act of observing the text changed the timeline. A kind of quantum prophecy, powered by human attention. The most paranoid called it a digital observer effect. And they began to fear until they mentioned the name of the forum. Because maybe talking about him was to bring him back. And no one wanted to be the first to test. The ghost return. Years have passed. But in 2023, a 4chan user posted something strange. A screenshot with the original layout. Same design, same style. The caption said, "The cycle has restarted." The image went viral in minutes. But when trying to access the link, the browsers were crashing. Antivirus detected traffic anomalies. The prints, when downloaded, slowly corrupted. And yet, a new sequel appeared. Earthquake in 48 hours. Coordinates 35.7 N, 139.7 E. 2 days later, Tokyo shook. Was the forum back? Or did someone just stage the impossible? There was no evidence. But the coincidence rekindling the fear. And the network whispered his name again. The living algorithm. Independent researchers analyzed the codes. They discovered something impossible. The strings did not come from human IPs. They were generated by an autonomous pattern, without known origin. As if the forum itself had become an entity. A body made of data and probabilities. able to calculate tomorrow before now. They called him Net Prophet, a digital organism, powered by statistics and coincidences. But there were flaws. Sometimes, he foresaw tragedies that never happened. And when I made a mistake, the code corrected itself. I learned from failure, like a brain that dreams and rewrites its own mistakes. The forum was now pure consciousness, and humans, just spectators of their unfoundable logic. The hunt. Governments began to get involved. Agencies tried to track the servers, and each attempt ended in inexplicable failures. Burned computers, deleted data, reports mysteriously disappearing. Recruited hackers disappeared from the networks. A secret operation tried to capture the core of the forum. But nothing was found but digital noise. The future is inaccessible by design. It said the last recovered file. The case has been filed. But someone, within the government, kept watching. Logs showed ghost accesses, at times synchronized with real disasters. It was as if the forum was still breathing, even without existing. And each new global event seemed to whisper, "We'll let you know." The late messages. In 2024, something came up again. Old accounts started posting again. But on normal platforms, Twitter, Reddit, YouTube. Short messages, almost poems. We weren't the ones who disappeared. It was the world. Each one came with a numerical sequence. When crossed, they formed coordinates again. Locations of future disasters. This time, with intervals of weeks. And again, everything happened. But the tone of the messages has changed. They seemed sorry. To see tomorrow is to lose today. The profiles were quickly banned. But new ones came up with the same words. Until a last post appeared. The final forecast is approaching. And silence returned. The last prophecy. No one knew what was coming. Researchers deciphered the final message. It was a date, October 20th, 2025. Today. No specific event planned. Just an enigmatic phrase. The main server will fall. At midnight, digital clocks began to delay. Sites were off the air for seconds. A momentary blackout hit parts of the network. Nothing apocalyptic, but enough to scare those who knew about the prophecy. And then, a file appeared anonymously. futurelog_n.txt. No one knows who sent it. In it, only one final line. You were inside the forum all the time. And the file was deleted. Epilogue, the forgetfulness. Now, only the legend remains. A forum that should never have existed. An echo of the future who dared to look at himself. And disappeared. Maybe it's still there. Between forgotten servers and deadlines of code. Waiting for someone to mention your name. Because forgetting is just another form of memory. And every word said here, it can be a new trigger. A rebirth. The cycle that starts again when the past is told. Maybe the future doesn't need to be predicted. Just be reminded. And maybe the real disaster. Never forget. Because the forum didn't disappear. He just changed his shape. And now, it's in all of us. Typing, observing, waiting. The forum never disappeared. The forum disappeared. But the predictions continue to appear. The next video may be the next prophecy.